do and what day and so on. I like this concept of a meetup, of a cruising around pretty much. And I mean, what are we doing? We are also cruising around the crypto market since over 3 years with HEX, right? And yeah, I would like to ask you a little bit. What would you like to hear right now? What would you like to hear? Would you like to hear like some strategy? Would you like to hear like some like stories? Would you hear like some history?
When launch?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Launch timeline, you got that?
Should I also say like mid-May without a year, you know? But honestly, like mid-May sounds good, and to speak a little bit about that, it doesn't look like that much is missing, you know? We already launched version 4 of the testnet. The tests are going pretty well, you know? We don't see like any issues with the validator rotation and so on, with the new reward system what got implemented. And yeah, we hope really that we can start in a few weeks. And Richard already said it like over and over that he is not timing the market, that he just wants to get product market fit, and that he wants to bring it out there as soon as the developer team is ready. What else would you like to hear?
Yeah.
What we should do when the fork happens? Should we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
what everybody might do or could do, you know? Are we having a room full of sacrifices here or not?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because like basically there are like 3 types of people, right? There are the people who sacrifice for Pulse and PulseX, there are the people who just sacrifice for PulseX, and there are the non-sacrificers. And there is like the fourth group, you know, those are the Larrys. Hi Larry, how's it going?
Hello!
Hello! Come on in, fill up the seats. Come on in, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Find your seats, guys.
It's really hard to find this place.
I know it's not that easy to get around on the ship, you know. It's pretty big, right? Can get lost.
Especially after all those Bahama mamas.
Yeah.
You can get here, but have to rope off.
This step was supposed to be younger.
All right, guys, so let's continue here. So we have those 3 groups, you know, and let's talk about them a little bit. When it comes to those people you might talk to, you know, in your daily life, and talk about them when it comes to PulseChain and to Pulse and PulseX, they might ask you like, okay, how can I get involved the best way? And I always advise them a little bit, okay, at first wait until it launches, you know, there you will get the fixed information like when it's starting, and then just look it up the first few weeks. Just learn, do nothing in the first 3 weeks, and then when you see red candles, for example, then would be the best time to dollar cost average in. And let's compare it a little bit with HEX. So when HEX launched, at first there was like a hype around it, you know. When now with PulseChain launched, there's also a hype around it, you know. And then we saw in the first couple of days an overvaluing of the coin itself, and then people, kind of got out of money, you know, and then more people did sell than invest. We had like a higher sell pressure going on, and we went down significantly, and that might happen, I really think so, to Pulse and PulseX after this initial hype as well. And I would advise those new people to look around for a price of 4 zeros and some numbers, and then like start their dollar cost averaging. But it's always still the case, like we always say that KSP and Kryptosparbuch, never all in, never all out. So please just go step by step by step, you know. You don't need to find this one perfect day, you know. Like everybody of us, or some of us might, why didn't I like go all in on day 33? But you know, it's not happening like that. And if you wouldn't invest like some days before or after or around that, and if you did not know about what you are getting into, you will not have the power to go all in like at the best point. At the best point you will see, no, that's definitely a scam or something like that. So yeah, so far for those people, and for us sacrificers here, what might be an interesting strategy, especially if you are not thinking about selling it in the first 1 and the first 2 years, then liquidity providing on the PulseChain between Pulse and PulseX might be a really good play. And why? Because you're still in those two valuable coins where we all think, they will go up over time versus the US dollars. And then you keep basically both, you get fees, you get the incentive token, and once you want to get out, it's a liquidity position. So you have access 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you can just cut it whenever you want it. Yes, go ahead.
So with regard to that, so you have, let's say you have Pulse and PulseX, and you want to put it in there and be a liquidity provider. You want to put you like both of them, you keep both of them, and you at least want to make some money off of that trading back and forth. Can you walk through that just a little bit as far as like what does that look like as far as a range? Because
so you don't need to look at a range up. So when it comes to PulseX right now, we have a version 2 liquidity system, like it was with version 2 of Uniswap. That means that you are not setting a range. That only means that you need to take 2 coins with the same value. So let's say that one pulse is 3 PulseX, then I would need 10,000 pulse and 30,000 PulseX to start a liquidity position. Of course, it works with 1 and 3 as well, just like like the ratio and the same value of both coins. And if the value in between both coins is like a 1 to 3, then you would need like 10,000 or 100,000 pulse with 10 or 30 or 300,000 PulseX.
are we pretty sure that they're just going to maintain like version 2 instead of version like 3 of the?
I mean, there might be updates and so on. That there is this range, but there will definitely still be a pool and there will still be volume going on. So as of right now, there is still volume on version 2 of HEX USDT.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why people might not want to dump all their e-hacks right away.
Which would be a stupid decision.
That would be a stupid decision. I absolutely agree, Larry. I mean, I know there are people who want to time it, who are like waiting up the fork and saying like, no, it's like Richard's project, so why should we keep like the hex on the Ethereum? It's like a broken chain, with all these high fees and so on. And then on the other side, who are the biggest people of HEX? Where did they come from? One of the biggest people of HEX is the Godwell, right? We all know him. Where did he come from? He came from the Genesis block of Ethereum. So he is an Ethereum whale, basically. And those are most of those bigger people in HEX, because what currency did they use in order to get HEX initially? ETH, because they went through the AA lobby, so mostly they used ETH to get into. And those people also don't have a big problem with the end staking fees or something like that. First of all, they know about the blockchain, so they know like when to do it. You have this 14-day grace period, so that also helps like with some fluctuations of the fees. And I really don't think that there will be a big shift. What I think is right after the fork, because we have like kind of a supply shock, even if it's like a copy of another hex on another chain. I still think it's kind of a supply shock, and it might be kind of a situation we had back in 2020 when we had the big payday, where everybody from one day after another day got like 30% more hex, if they just staked it for one day. And lots of people were also thinking that it might be the death of HEX, like 4 or 5 people before the big payday, everybody thought that they can triple or quadruple their money, and only like in the last 2 days, the origin address wallets, helped out that might minor a little bit more. So yeah, it might be that we also see again something like that.
Okay, another that line real quick. So a steam engine from old times between an actual steam train is the same as a nuclear reactor. They all spin turbines. They move steam to make an articulate decision to move things forward. Ethereum is the OG EVM. It does cost gas, just like coal needs to go into the train, into the boat to work. Now a more reactive solution, which would be a nuclear reactor, actually still uses the thing of turning the turbines to turn water into steam. Understanding the utility is more than understanding its presence. And that is exactly why Ethereum will the ETH HEX T share. It's not EHEX, it's the EHEX T share will have the binded volume on top of it because it builds. Because if you look at a nuclear reactor, you're still looking at a steam engine boat or a steam engine train. The skinning of it changed. And that's why we teach people why, not what to buy. And that is the most important variable of this. Most people don't understand it, and that's why we come to all the rest of it. But that is the most important difference between the value from ET shares and PT shares is that. It's both a steam engine binded onto each other that at fork its value is 1. They are the same. They will value and vary based on their numerical change based on unstake and restake, but their use case is still a steam engine that we used 400 years ago to get across the damn ocean.
Thanks, Larry. And you know, that was also already a little bit of my talk. I just wanted to get like the warm-up phase here going right now.
Sorry.
I give the torch to the captain. You know, we have Captain RG3 on our HEXcruise, obviously. Thanks for reaching out. I remember like already a year ago when Kaylin put out the information about like a HEXcruise, you were like already DMing like, oh yeah, I looked it up, like what ship is it on? I remember like your first question was like, what ship is it on? So thanks for being here today as well. And afterwards, Crypto Coffee will also have his little talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Avoid that, all in.
Okay.
You're able to do that? But first of all, thank you for further questions. We can put them like to the end of the talks. And now, Captain RG3.
Yeah, boy! Captain.
Well, ahoy, crypto pirates. Alright, so check this out. So all you gotta do is commit a crime while you're on the boat, and you're on official pirate, right? Half of you already have, I know. I saw it last night. So what are we doing here? So we're getting ready to go on tour, and we're gonna start talking about DeFi and the HEX ecosystem, Richard Hart's ecosystem. I wanted to talk about something else other than just the cryptos themselves and strategies, because I'm gonna say this right now, nobody knows shit. You don't know yet what's gonna happen. So trying to put up a strategy right now is ludicrous. You need to watch, sit back, wait, and watch what's going on. Because you come up with some kind of a strategy and you go right into it, you might get left behind. Especially with liquidity providing and things like that, you gotta be really, really careful. So if you don't know what you're doing, the best thing you do is sit on your hands. That's all I can tell you. Some of the other folks that are smarter, they're gonna go take some risks, but it is a risk, even with those guys that know what they're doing. It's a risk, because you don't know what the market's gonna do. You don't know how PulseChain is gonna launch, what's gonna happen to EHEX, what's gonna happen to PHEX, what's gonna happen to the incentive token, all these things. So don't trouble your mind with it. Sit back, relax, get your bags filled the way you want. We're gonna see dips. They always dip. You see a pump, you're gonna see a dump, find a price range, and that's the part you wanna go. That's what you wanna buy, is your price range. So is this thing?
Yes, yeah.
So, but what I really wanna talk about, first of all, I wanna say thank you to Kaylin for putting on the group. And all the work that she does in the background. She's really superstar. She makes things happen that I definitely couldn't. So thank you, Caitlin. And thank you, SJ, for accompanying me on this tour.
Yeah.
SJ is driving with us and hanging out with everybody. And also want to thank DJ Pollywood and our other man there for following SJ around and making sure that she's going to be safe. And we're going to have caravans in every city, and it's going to be cool. So there's a reason why we're doing this. What I did, the reason I'm even standing in front of you, if you don't know who I am, how many people are new to crypto? Okay. Okay, we have a couple. How many are new to HEX? Allsting, Richard Hart. No, some of you are all OG. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, the only reason I'm standing up here is because I was the guy that pushed the button first and started making videos. And that wasn't to be the guy that was saying things, but that was the guy that was just letting other people say things. So I was bringing all these guys on, the smarter ones, to teach you guys about the HEX ecosystem. Along the way, I was learning. But I know something about this. Crypto was meant to be built by communities. It wasn't meant to be built by companies or a human being. Richard Hart is not the builder and the developer of this. He created the crypto and he put them out for us, but he put them out for us. That means the community. So we're the ones that have to do the work. Whatever that work may be, whether it's driving a bus or just getting up here and motivating people to get up off their asses and going and doing something, or if you're one of these brilliant crypto geniuses like Coffee and our buddy Kool-Aid over here. Everybody has their place, and a story has to be told about this. And my story is this: I worked for 40 years or 30 years as a millwright. I moved big stuff. We moved big shit is what our motto was. And I built million-pound machines, worked for 30 years, breaking my back. I've got 8 herniated discs. I raised 2 kids without even knowing them because I worked 14-hour days. So I was always looking for something else. And the generation that raised me said, go to work, get a good job, get a pension, get a 401k, and retire. Well, that started disappearing as I saw my work life and my production value going up, but my income going down. And I was like, what's going on here? Because I watched my grandfather retire, I watched my dad retire, and then I wasn't going to be able to retire. It was getting further and further away. I'm 55 years old, and it was getting further and further away from me. And I saw those guys roll into their 60s and be able to retire, and I'm rolling into my 50s, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, what is this? What is going to happen to me? So I started businesses on the side. I lived in Southern California, so it's real hard to live on one income. My wife stayed home, raised the kids. And so I had to have these businesses on the side. And so becoming an entrepreneur, I knew that that was going to be the only way out of the mess I was in. That being a blue-collar worker and being a tradesman wasn't going to be the answer. So I started looking at opportunities. And I created a gaming company that supported a game called Counter-Strike, and kids would fight each other, and we took care of their servers and social media stuff, and they competed on our servers. And during that time, I heard about this Bitcoin thing, right? And that was about 2009, 2010. We started talking about it in the IRC chat rooms that we were all in. And I thought nothing of it at that point. Like, it didn't matter. It wasn't anything that was, it was like a glorified PayPal is all it looked like to me. And then somebody in 2014 asked me for some Bitcoin for some software development that they did for us. So I got the wallet all set up and I sent them the Bitcoin. And after that was done, I didn't think of it. There's about 30 bucks left in change in the wallet. Well, about 4 or 5 months later, somebody asked me for some more of the Bitcoin. So I went into the wallet, opened it up, and there was about 800 bucks in there. So at that point, I said, okay, there's something to this whole crypto thing, right? So that's when I started doing my research, and I read the Satoshi white paper. And something in there was glaring at me, and it was that the cryptos themselves were supposed to be it was the monetary system coming out of the system and into the hands of the people. And how do you do that? One person can't do that. You can't have a thought leader that does that. You have to have a group of people. You have to have communities. You have to have people that come together and tell stories and bring this to the people. Because I don't care how good crypto gets, there's still people out there that are afraid of it. There's still people that don't want to get involved. There's still people that think it's a scam, that think it's fake. And there's a reason for thinking it's a scam, because 99.9 of the shit out there is a scam. And they're right to think that. But there is a new way. With HEX, that has all changed. Satoshi's real vision has been achieved with what Richard Hart did. We finally have true DeFi now. And when Pulse and PulseX launch, we will have DeFi. It's here. It's ready to go. But now a story has to be told. So all of your stories have to be told out there so that people can have confidence in what it is and not be afraid of it anymore. So that's what this tour is for us to get out there and get everybody up off their asses and go and do something about this. Because all I see on social media is people complaining. People complaining about the banks. People complaining about their governments. People complaining about taxes. People complaining about all this stuff. The world's going to hell. Everything sucks. But I don't see anybody doing shit and getting off their ass and going and doing something. And that's what concerns me, is that we'd rather sit there and throw all this crap around each other and sling shit on the walls instead of going out and doing something. So that's why I said, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna help develop this community. I'm gonna get out there and fire people up, and I'm gonna get smart guys up off of their asses so they can go speak to the people. I'm gonna get people that have resources and energy to go out and do things and make stickers and make t-shirts and go out and just, you know, there's people that are good at just talking to people in elevators. You know, I mean, you gotta get out there and go do something. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to get people off their asses and develop a community. Because when it comes down to it, we all have our differences. Everybody in this room has differences. We all have it's about 10% of us, 10% of the things that we all believe in are our differences. We really believe in about 90% of each other's stuff. We all feel the same way, meaning we want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We want our neighbors to be safe. We want to be safe. We want to be free to do our own thing. And we want our money back. You know, we want our retirements back. We want vehicles that we can go out and utilize that are going to subvert the system that is trying to crush us little guys. And I don't know, anybody in here a billionaire yet? I'm the only one raising my hand? Just kidding, not yet. Almost. Right, Dan? So those guys are the ones that have rigged the system. And those are the guys that we're really railing against. Because, well, most of you here are from America. And what they've done with our political system has taken our rights away from us and put it into the hands of the big moneyed interests. So we don't have control of our government anymore. A little thing called Citizens United that made it to where money is speech, and it's worth more than your speech because they got more money than you. And that's the problem in this country. So what do? Well, we've been sitting there bitching, whining, and complaining for years. No more of that. Now we have tools that we can go out and do something. So now with crypto, we can take the money literally out of the banks and put it in our own control. They can't stop it. They're gonna try. You're gonna see a lot of stuff. Look, is there anybody from the SEC in here? They're probably always watching. But they don't have any teeth anymore. Thanks for shutting the door.
Everybody has their phones in here, right? So they're hearing it all anyway.
So what we're seeing is, you know, regulatory overreach, and the SEC has come after a bunch of us Hexicans. For those of you who don't know, and they've tried to subpoena all of us and, you know, try and uncover something under a rock, but there's nothing there. There's no there, and they've actually stopped investigating really. But the government isn't the problem. The problem is all of us. We have to take it into our own hands now and go and do something about it. So that means taking it to the streets, taking it to the people, taking it to your sphere of influence, taking it to the people that you know. And then coming in and supporting the things that we're all doing. You know, all these channels that are out there, support them, go subscribe, go listen to them. And if you're somebody who can go out and do it too, go out and turn a YouTube channel on yourself. You know, I knew that I could turn the channel on. I knew that I can actually ask a couple of people to help me. And all I had to do was invite folks in that were smarter than me to come and talk. And they did. So whatever you can do, get involved. And you know, if your thing is writing letters, write letters. If your thing is sending out spam, send out spam. If your thing is getting in front of a camera and talking, get in front of a camera and talk. You know, but we need everybody. And we need everybody to start encouraging everybody else to go do so. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple of questions because we got to get off pretty soon, right?
No, we still have some.
I still got time? Okay, I'll answer some questions now. They're not going to be as technical as some of these guys, but I'm going to give it to you straight.
All I want to say is thank you for sharing your background, because unless we really know where we've come from, we don't know how you're going to benefit the community. And that's what I'm not that smart. And but I have the ability to find smart people, and that's the biggest surprise coming here. I'm older, that the intelligent, the intellect it's addicting, really. I mean, everybody's working for the same goal, and you feel the energy, and that's why I get so excited, because it makes sense, especially how you said it's gonna dominate the banking industry. That's what sold me on HEX. I didn't know Jack, Access Live kind of turned me onto it, but when he said that, I'm like, the light came on, the light bulb. And that's what's happening now in real time. Our banking system's failing for the third time in my lifetime. And just throwing money in and printing money gives no value. So if you develop a community that has a belief and a passion within their own currency, because it can create, balance within that ecosystem, why wouldn't you want to join it?
Exactly. So here's what I like about what you just said, is that you and I are close to the same age, and we've been through a few cycles. And one of the things that I've been trying to teach younger folks around is that there's nothing new under the sun. There's no new scams. They're the same old scams that have been run on human beings for the last millennia. There's nothing new. This whole crypto thing that you're seeing, those scams are not, those guys haven't thought of anything new. They're pulling the same old shit that's been pulled by Bernie Madoff and all the rest of them. And they're all paying for it now. Sam's gonna go to prison for a long time. He's gonna get popped on this thing. I mean, Bernie Madoff died in prison, just a year or two ago. He was the same crap. They're doing the same thing. But what I do know about what we've got our hands on with HEX, and I'll answer something else that you were talking about, is it's better money. And here's why, if you don't know why HEX is better money. So HEX moves like a dollar, it moves like Bitcoin, it moves like any other currency in the world. You can send it and receive it safely to anyone. They're all digits, by the way. All of the money out there, yuan, yen, you name it, it's all digits. We don't use paper dollars and coins anymore, they're novelty items now. We're all digital. So let's cut the crap with, this is some new kind of freaking crazy technology. It's not. It's not new either. Crypto's been around since the 70s and even before that. So this technology isn't new. So it shouldn't be intimidating to people. You should just know that it's the same old money that we've ever had. It's just now we're moving it out of the hands of the people that are trying to harm us and into the hands of the people that care about us, which is all ourselves. And here's the beauty about HEX, and this is why I know HEX is going to be successful. And we can talk about PulseChain and PulseX and strategies and how great all of it is, but that's not what's really going on here. HEX is the GOAT. HEX is the currency that is going to change the world. Not PulseChain. PulseChain makes HEX better. PulseX makes HEX better. HEX is the currency you want to be in. Period, end story. Here's why. HEX's inflation model is globally, it changes finance. Period, end of story. Nothing inflates like HEX. The dollar inflates by what? They send a letter here, they send a check over there, they turn the money printers on, and the digits automatically appear. They don't print money anymore. It's just, like you said, novelty. So the digits get sent to the banks, and the banks dump it on our heads. They dump it on our heads, and they crush our interest rates, and they take our money that we have under our pillows and devalue it. Money that's sitting in the bank accounts devalues every time they do that to us. So they're crushing our money. They're crushing us by doing so because of the inflation model. Bitcoin. Bitcoin inflates, it's got a 21 million Bitcoin bucket, and all the miners get that. So all the miners are out there buying equipment, buying energy, wasting it because it doesn't do anything but waste energy. That energy does absolutely nothing for the system. It's a dilapidated, old piece of garbage crypto. Period. I don't care what anybody says to me. Thank you, Bitcoin, for being the first, but you suck. That's it. That's the truth. And nobody can fight me on that because it does. It sucks. You have to build a freaking, what do they call that, a Rube Goldberg machine in order to make that crap work. That's what they're doing nowadays. It's like, oh, let's build this system, put Bitcoin on so that it can be cheaper and faster and blah, 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 blah. So more and more and more systems and services and coins and everything on top of it to make it work. That's not how it should be. Bitcoin gets the inflation, the miners get the inflation. What do? They gotta pay their bills. They gotta buy new mining equipment. And they gotta survive the next bear market, because they get wrecked every bear market. The little miner guys that are at home mining, they have to turn their machines off and sell it and quit mining because they got wrecked. The big boys, they get to turn everything off and hope and pray that the next bull run will come soon enough so that they can make their bills and start mining again. That's what happens every cycle. So, and then those guys dump on your heads. So the miners dump. Boom, boom, boom. So it's more dumping. What does HEX do? How does HEX inflation work? All the other currencies in the world do the same thing. They get printed, they get dumped, and they get devalued. So what does HEX do? HEX inflation is paid to the stakers. So you understand what that means. So now, and HEX inflates at 3.69% per year annually, and it doesn't come out of a bucket. It's just going to every year inflate 3.69% off the contract, meaning it's immutable. Contract's the only thing that does it, not a human being, not a government agency, not miners. Comes out and lands on a 10-year stake. That's inflation that's not coming out for 10 years. Lands on a 15-year stake. That's inflation that's not coming out for 15 years. Nothing inflates like that. No currency in the world does that. Even if it's a day or 2 or 3, it's still delayed. It's always delayed. It's delayed inflation every single time. So guess what? That makes it better than any currency out there. It makes it better than Bitcoin. Not to mention that the person that's getting the inflation is the staker, and it's immutable. And there is no immutable interest that you're making on your cryptos out there that I know of. If anybody knows, anybody know of any immutable cryptos that are making other than HEX? No? Right? I guess that's it, just HEX. So it's better than Uniswap. But it doesn't make inflation.
You have to put up for it, right? Like you gotta add liquidity to get yield from Uniswap.
You're making money off of the transactions, so
Not like HEX.
not like HEX. You get small percentages, and you got risk because now you're a liquidity provider. For those of you who don't know, when you provide liquidity, you get into a risk category, and that risk category is you can suffer permanent loss, meaning that you can get a coin that you don't want and lose the one that you did want because the value of it went up and you sold it all the way up into it. Now you don't have it anymore and you're priced out of the market. So for little guys, that's what can happen to you if you liquidity provide. Big guys, they can sit on it for 10 years. You can just throw your liquidity up there and leave it there. So it's different for them, for whales, than it is for the normal folks. So don't ever forget that. If you think you're gonna liquidity provide, know what you're doing, because that's a whale game, not a little fish game. So anyway, so the inflation model blows everything away. And then on top of that, we're making 38 to 40% APY. Some of us are making 50-something% APY if you staked before big payday. So you don't see those numbers anywhere. Nobody's making that kind of scratch, nowhere. So we're killing it on top of killing it. When HEX comes out of the system, a lot of times what people want to do, so when your stake comes out, a lot of people want to restake some of it versus dumping it all. So that's inflation that not only did it wait 5, 10, 15 years, is going to get restaked again for even longer. So the compounding of the inflation being delayed, it just keeps going and keeps going and gets better and better and better, and it just gives HEX more value in the world, in the scheme of things in the world. I don't think anything's going to even be able to catch up to it, you know, because it's done so well already for 3 years. So because of the inflation model, because of the yield that's earned, and I know we're calling it different things now, I mean, it's yield. You're making inflation yield off of your stake. But here's something very interesting, and for those of you who do know or don't know about the originating address, there is an address that in the early days of the adoption amplifier, when HEX was first launching, received most of the coins. I think it owns close to 90% of the coins now, or more. And it's never moved any coins. It's never sold any coins. Think of it as kind of like a De Beers model situation, where De Beers, for those who don't know, De Beers does not, or diamonds aren't rare. There's a lot of diamonds out there. But the De Beers Corporation hoards them and keeps them locked up and only releases a certain amount every year. So because of that, and then there's a diamond consortium out there that does this part of it, that's part of the De Beers model. And because of that, it creates rarity. Well, what Richard did with the originating address is he created rarity with it. But here's the interesting part that I don't think people really see and understand. So we're making 38% APY right now off of our HEX stakes. Who's staked here? Right? You guys are all making that? Am I lying, or you guys are making that? Right? You're making that. Or more.
More, yeah.
Or more. So that's based on the amount of stakers in the pool. The amount of stakers in the pool on the circulating supply of HEX. So with 90% of that HEX locked up and 10% of it staked, that's 100%. I think it's closer to like 80 something percent. So there's literally only a handful of percent left that can actually go into the pool to dilute it. Meaning that you can never see HEX's inflation or return rate go below, say, 22%, even with all the HEX staked, because the OA owns so much of it, and there's barely any HEX out there left to even stake. So that means that APY will never dip below the 20s. Do you know what that means to the world when you have something that has that kind of value, that you can make that kind of return on? Nothing makes 20% return. That's accidental stuff. That's, what do they call it? It's just one of those events that you just don't see.
Anomaly.
Yeah. No, it's
20%.
Yeah, it'll
That's
never.
crazy.
It'll never dip below that, because the OA is never going to get rid of those coins, and you're never going to have that much liquid supply out there to dilute the pool with. And think about it. There's insurance, the whole insurance world out there. Let's just look at one industry. It's a big industry. But the whole insurance world out there is like, there's guys' jobs on the line every day to go find 2 to 3%. They're trying to get 3% every single day. And imagine if those guys can go, hey, I just got us 20% every day. We're killing it. I mean, that's the kind of thing that the world needs to see, is that there's an immutable code, there is a currency that you can actually do that kind of yield on. And that can be transferred back into dollars and boom, moved into their coffers. So once industry really sees what this is about, and once human beings like myself who wanted to retire see what it's all about. See, now I can go and save people that are in their 50s, looking to retire in the next 10 years, that don't have a 401k, they got a 104k now. You know what I mean? So now I can turn them on to something that's gonna make them 30 plus APY. That's how they can get ahead. And for those of you who are young, you have like 2 or 3 more 15-year cycles in you. I mean, imagine what you can do with that. Imagine what HEX is gonna be in 30 years. I won't be around to see it, but some of you will. And that's where you're gonna see the value of this thing. Just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger once we start getting adoption. Now, this PulseChain and PulseX is gonna start getting us adoption. We're gonna start showing the crypto world what DeFi is all about. All the other stuff, we're already seeing it. We're already seeing the talking heads are starting to speak well about us. They're starting to speak well about Richard. And it's only a matter of time now. You know, we won the war. We were going up against everybody. They were coming at us, you name it, from death threats to threatening the SEC on us and everything else. We won, and they lost. They were all scammers. They were all promoting scams, and we didn't. We didn't, and we were right, and Richard was right. And even though I ain't the smartest guy in crypto, I'm definitely one of the best guys in crypto, because I didn't wreck anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. I went out there and built stuff and did stuff that was gonna make this ecosystem better. And that's everybody in this room also. you guys are all doing the same thing, especially all of you, OGs and friends and whatnot. So my hat's off to you guys too. Yes, sir.
For everybody in the room, can you give a quick 2 to 3 minute answer when somebody says, why HEX? There are a lot of cryptos out there, and why should I go with this one when I don't know if it's going to be around? Like, if you can explain the basic concept of it to them, but then they give that response. There's 10,000 cryptos. How do I know this one is going to be around 10 years from now?
That's the hard one, because we have history to go up against, and it's not good. I mean, look at the crypto space. What do we got out there? 99.9% of them are scams. Just garbage. Crypto is garbage. Even the good stuff is. Ethereum is garbage, and Bitcoin's garbage. And nobody has advanced it until Richard. And that's kind of the speech you have to give to somebody, is that, look, there are 2 cryptos that actually did something. One of them was Bitcoin. Bitcoin proved a concept that you can stop the double spend, and that I can send you a currency outside of the banking system over the internet securely. That is all it did. It did it shitty, it did it slow, it didn't do it in a way that was going to advance it into the future. You couldn't build on it, you couldn't do anything with it. They still haven't been able to do anything with Bitcoin. First, yes, thank you for being first. Gets its props that way. It's all due respect. But other than that, it was just the first iteration. It was the Betamax. And then Ethereum proved another concept, that we can program this stuff to do really cool stuff. And instead of doing cool stuff, you know what they did? They played shell games with everybody. They played 3-card Monty with everybody. They pulled the old Bernie Madoff Ponzi schemes and all that stuff on everybody, because they can program it to do cool shit and stuff their pockets. And that's what they did. So you have to explain it to people that way, and then say, look, I was looking at this. I was looking at what crypto can do for the world, for what it can do for me, whatever. And then the reason that I got involved in this is because what Richard said he was going to do. Richard said, I'm going to make a better Bitcoin. And that's what we needed, was a better Bitcoin. We needed something that had a good inflation model, that got APY. That's what we needed. And so it's really the only use case for a crypto that I can really see, right? I mean, what else would you need one for? For what? To replace the dollar? You're not going to replace the dollar, not yet. They're going to try. They're going to do. You're going to hear all of this stuff with all the crap that's going on out there. But it's crypto is here to take ourselves out of the banking system, not get rid of the dollar, not crush the dollar. That's not the narrative that we need to be speaking. We need to say, look, I don't want my dollars in that system anymore. I want my value outside of that system where I can earn more. Because there was a day where you could put your money in a savings account and actually pull something back out of it in a year or 2 or 5. Not so anymore. But with HEX, with crypto, you can do that now. So that's kind of the long answer. That's our uphill battle. That is our uphill battle, because we're fighting a system that is screwed. We're actually part of a system that's all screwed up. And what can we do other than say, yeah, I know we look like a duck and we sound like a duck, but we're really not a duck. And that's just going to take time with us out there telling our stories. Look, I'm a guy that worked his life away. My back is ruined. I did my time doing the right thing that you guys told me to do, and I got screwed for it. Now I found something that saved my ass, and I'm going to go out and tell the world about it because I want to save more people. And that's how I talk about it, and that's my passion, and that's what I'm doing, because I got a bunch of buddies that are dying on their couches right now, that are in their late 50s, that have been working their asses off, that haven't seen their families. And that's what fires me up. That's what gets me wanting to do this, because this is a better way. This is a way to help those people, And for you younger people, man, you guys are having it even worse than us, because they want more productivity out of you. Always want more productivity. the American workers' productivity has gone like this, through the roof, but our wages have gone like this, gone stagnant or gone down. And our ability to save and retire has gone down or stagnated, even though our productivity went up. So what does that tell you? Again, we're in the same cycle of the robber barons. We're in the same cycle of the freaking czars. We're in the same cycle of the, Caesars and all of the other people that have always taken as much as they can and got greedy and made the monetary system work for them and not for the common people. And instead of sitting there crying and complaining and doing social media freaking memes all day long, get up and go do something. That's what we're here to do, is build a community that's going out and doing something and teaching others what we got our hands on. A lot of people are going, yeah, I'm gonna get crypto rich, I'm gonna get me a Lambo, blah, blah, blah. Well, how about if you just go out and help people, and the byproduct of that is you getting rich, because you got in first, because you started doing this before they did. That's what has happened here. I didn't worry about that. I found that Richard had made a crypto that was gonna blow the world's mind, and I said, if I can get this out to people, man, I can go save a whole bunch of folks. And in the meantime, I know what's gonna happen to me. To whom much is given, much is expected. So, am I done?
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to have a very short talk by Access Alive, and then we're going to present 2 community projects. Would you like to show us your book after Access? All right, great.
Let's go, Axe.
All right, if you want to just pull up some charts, we'll be. Hey, when Moon? When Saturn?
When Lambo?
When Hexagon?
Hey.
All right, well, my name's Mitchell. For those of you that don't know, I see a lot of familiar faces. I got to meet a lot of you for the first time. Klaus, I'm looking at you. Thanks for the coin, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I started a website a couple months ago with the help of Candace sitting in the back. She's been a big, huge support. We just did a Kryptosparbuch, and I just recently did a liquidity providing course. So if you want to make money and you want to beat the APY that you're getting from staking, do liquidity providing. If you can execute a swap, you can be a market maker in crypto. That's the beauty of DeFi. So if that stuff's interesting, just look for the public streams or sign up for something. I cannot say enough about how this community has blossomed into something that, now there's a new wave coming every year. So I first went to, in September of 21, I went to my first HEX meetup. It was the mass meetup in Vegas. And met people like Crypto Coffee there and Freddie. You weren't there, buddy, you were supposed to be there, but I think Finn took a crap in the wrong place or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, Finny. Sorry, man. Anyway, another big shout out, Bob Peel. He helped me get into this game. I started with mining Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Bob kind of took me under his wing and showed me how to trade and kind of showed the start of my knowledge in charting. So yeah, what makes me good is that I'm built up by all the people that came before me, and I just wanted to tell you guys that if you just pick up the nuggets as they come, you can really become the market maker. You can become the next wave of where money is going to flow. And it all comes into checking people like me, obviously, that's going to be out there anchoring positions so that you guys can be more informed on what's going on in the macro setup. But if you just know where the money's flowing, it doesn't take a lot of extra knowledge to just feel the change that's in the air between all these governments fighting over monetary supplies and wars and inside deals. And in order to really push it to the next level, it's going to take a real grassroots movement like this to get us in a place where we can actually compete with another system, that being the legacy system, right? And so, these are the kinds of things I think about. To me, if we can get all the resources, or we can make a one-way funnel to freedom, then we can be on the other side of that trade and be there providing what's going to be the next wave of technology and innovation in the space, and just a new mindset and thinking a new way forward. And I think everybody here has a piece in that. So, can't say enough good about the community overall. I didn't really have a speech prepared because I kind of just got asked to do this last night yesterday during the champagne party. I thought I was just coming to party, but
Takes a question in the morning.
Yeah, do anybody have any questions for me, Crypto Coffee?
Yeah, a lot of people get confused about liquidity providing. They're all worried, like, do we have to do something? And what RG was saying was kind of the opposite of your business model, which I also respect though, but he was saying that a lot of people just really shouldn't be liquidity providing because if you don't have maybe 10 grand to put up front, you're probably gonna shoot yourself in the foot, lose money to a permanent loss. What do you think is a good dollar value to start with if you want to get into those?
Yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with East gas fees, it kind of adds an element of, okay, you better have more than a couple grand to put into LP. You should always have a core position, and that should be in like staking X or some sort of, yeah, I would even go as far to say Bitcoin, Ethereum, HEX, and then what's going to end up being PulseChain and PulseX is like your core basket of cryptos that will always outcompete the loss of purchasing power in the dollar. So you're always best to start there, and then, but when you want to take your game to the next level, let's say 3-4 years down the road, and your relatively small bag from the past is now worth something meaningful in dollar terms, you can just take a percentage, 10 or 20%, and put that in there and see a return that might be able to outpace what you'd be waiting on in the ladder, right? And so there's a lot of mindset stuff to think about when it comes to that. But like, look, if people aren't putting their liquidity on the pools, there's nothing to buy. So that we're in this phase right now where we're building up excitement for what's going to be an epic bull run. And it's going to take time for the market to mature, right? Because like you can't just go from $3 million in a pool to $25 million in a pool and not expect this thing to pull back. Because what you're doing is it's a very small window for large buyers and sellers to act. It's a whale's game until it isn't. When the numbers come and they see those big candles print, they're going to be there buying the bags off us after they've realized this, right? So I'm just trying to prep people so they have the knowledge and skill set so that they can be an active participant in the market if that's what they choose. Yeah, it's just layered, right? Because like I think people underestimate how far HEX can go in price, and if what we say is true, then you'd probably want to be as knowledgeable as you can about the experience. Like it's going to be a full-time job for a lot of us, right? Because of the amount of wealth that's going to come into the system. You just got to be able to outlive and outlast, right? So it's exciting. Cryptocurrency is awesome, and it's a hell of a lot better than mining. So just don't do that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Freddie.
When is PulseChain mainnet gonna launch?
Mid-May.
There we go.
What year? Talk to the desk.
No doubt.
What
Look,
year?
I hear people in the rooms. I hear rumblings, right? If it maybe end of summer, DCC thinks. I think mid-May sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to these guys too. They did this amazing book. Like it's seriously, it's my favorite book about HEX. So if you haven't got a copy of that, go check that out.
You said early on, you did a website. What's the website?
accessalive.com. And the basis of that whole thing is just, it's multi-layered, but you know, like my streaming content is always based on the data. And so what I did was I teamed up with some of in my mind, some of the best minds in the space, like Silver the Antidote, Crypto Sloth, RG3 has always been helping me out too. Crypto Coffee helps me out with my live streams. We've both done very successful stream recently. I thought that was really good, and we talked on a lot of topics. And so like I just wanted to be a broad base, a foundation that really gives people an edge in the market, because the market's always evolving, and I don't want to be so much steered into maximalism, but opportunism. Like HEX is the best because it's got the best inflation curve, and so that's like a good core position. But then if you're not taking bets to bring that value back into HEX, you end up with just a one-sided equation where there's just USD getting extracted out of the system. So we need to find a way to create circular loops where there's value coming back inside of the HEX ecosystem, but outside as well. You know, this bear market was insane. 10,000x return, or the bull market was insane. And then the bear market was even more insane. I didn't think we were gonna break 10 cents. But because we were supposed to get PulseChain mainnet, we didn't get it. Richard, where are you at, buddy? But big shout out to him for even dealing with all I wouldn't want to deal with this headache. He's got plenty of stress and problems of his own, so got to show our appreciation to the Godfather. I don't know, anything else we want to talk about before I take off?
So your website just teaches people how to do like more strategies and
yeah, just some people don't even remember how to do the candle chart reading. If you don't know where to open, the close, and how that moves across time, you know, it's just a good I mean, and that's not necessary if you just believe in it, right? You can see that you can believe and feel in the energy. Like you don't have to be a whiz to figure this out. You go on Twitter for 5 minutes and the Hexicans are gonna blast any crypto Twitter thing and will ratio the crap out of everybody. They're everywhere. There was a dude on this ship that literally didn't no idea this hex thing was going on, and dude had a hex shirt and then found us. So it's like, I hear stories of people that are in PulseChain, but they don't even have any association with the community. And like, how could you know? They could literally just be seeing one post somewhere or one ad somewhere, and they're in it, and then they tell a pocket of people, and then they tell a pocket of people. And then it just compounds, and it's gonna create this really organic parabola, because this is an on-chain traded asset, which is different than the centralized exchanges. That stuff can be fluffed, and you can get the futures trading market, which affects price even more violently. Now we got, forms of that on the DeFi side building now too. So we're in the cockpit in terms of value on Ethereum. We're the #1 ERC20 in HEX, and people want to go chase Pulse and PulseX. Not saying they're not going to benefit HEX, but all the value is going to come back into the store value and the T-shirt and HEX. So it's going to be amazing. All the liquidity is going to be tied together. This shit's going to get pumping. I'm excited. Shout out to next year.
So I think my favorite part of the website is I can go and put my email address in, and you just send me stuff. Like, that's awesome, right? So like.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And
Yeah.
so I want to bring value to that group. So if you can do this, you subscribe to the mailing list, that's free.
Yeah.
You guys probably want to say what you want to see so that I know what to put in there, so you have access to content you guys care about, right? Because if I'm just doing a blog and nobody reads it, they read it. You guys really liked the hex chart going like GameStop. They really like that one going to $25, but they don't always like the ones that predicts downside. So it's like our give and take, but that's what I'm saying is we want to be on the edge of this, right?
Email, right?
Yeah, just put in your email on the website, we'll be good to go. All right.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple of community projects. First one is by our Hexagon artist, Shmiris. If you guys have not seen it, Shmiris has been involved in our community for a while, and a lot of people don't know what all he has done. If you saw the NASCAR shirt from when we went to, what was that, Daytona, right? He designed that shirt. He did SJ's tattoo live on stream. He has painted the PulseChain van that will be on the PulseChain tour.
The cruise shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, he created the cruise shirt that a lot of you guys purchased and wore on the first day. He has designed these shirts for his brand 369. What's the website?
SIX9.xyz.
Yes, so the number 3 spelled out 6, then 9, the number 9.xyz. And my favorite project of his is one that me and him and Freddie Quotes collaborated on. Freddie is a big 311 cruise guy, right? And so we want these crypto cruises and our events to be to the same level, if not better than these other events. And so he was passionate. He was like, you have to have takeaways, you have to have things like posters, you have to have wristbands, and he bought a bunch of wristbands and gave them all out to everybody. And then Richard had for a second there kind of stopped us from saying staking, right? So then we all started developing our new ways of talking about what it is that our leagues are. And so the three of us together, we came up with this HEX minor leagues. And so this is essentially all the different classes, the shells, the shrimps, and whatnot. But it is hand-drawn. It is beautiful, beautiful art. It is a limited edition poster. There will only be 369 printed. Each one is numbered and signed by the artist, by Shmiris. And we have these available here on the cruise. They're $100 if you were to buy them after the cruise on our website. It's $125. And I'm just gonna put this out here. This team here, we're building, we're creating. And so I have no expectations. I don't wanna say that by having one of these limited edition cruise posters that's going to put you, in some type of higher tier. But I will say, I throw a lot of events, you know this, right? And sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of VIP access, right? So I'm just gonna put that out there.
It comes with a certificate of
It does.
authenticity.
Every
Okay.
poster comes with the NFT certificate of authenticity so that you can see on chain that you are one of only 100 or 369. And so I'm gonna hand the mic to Smigers and let him say whatever it is he'd like to say. And then following him, I'd like you to come up and present your book.
Hey, thanks y'all. I don't think public speaking is my forte, I guess we'll see, but RG, what you said earlier about kind of everybody doing their part and like kind of doing what they can. As a visual artist, I mean, I'm a tattooer, I do aerosol murals, like all sort of custom artwork. This type of thing and like kind of breaking into the community in this way has given me like a big chance to like, you know, kind of do what I can do, like kind of to the utmost, and you know, just help kind of propel things forward in my like small way. So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, to the book. I mean, we are consuming all of your content. So that's just a product of the community itself, because yeah, we follow you. We enjoy your content. We take whatever we can from what you say. We put it into a product, which is this book, and yeah, it's a practical guide for onboarding people, more than other products maybe that are physical. And so yeah, we first set it up for the German community, had it printed in December last year, and yeah, now we changed it from staking to mining, so now it's all mining, and the wording has changed and stuff like that, so it's ready with the mining inside. And it's not published yet, not in German, not in English, but it will be available in May on Amazon and yeah, on the website, but Amazon is most important. So if we can, yeah, just as a community put our efforts together to make it big on Amazon, we do whatever we can to make it big as well. And yeah, pricing doesn't matter too much. It's just about yeah, pushing the algorithms and yeah, pushing it out to the people. I think it's a great tool to onboard people, especially with a step-by-step guide in the back of the book. And yeah, cover is nice. It's Miriam who did it. She's German. She draw it by hand as well. And I don't know how she does stuff, but I mean, you know how it's So first of all, well, in the end, it was John's idea to have this book done. It's obviously a lot of work, but he showed me the way and knows the technical stuff, and we put it together, structured it and stuff. I mean, you all know how hard it is to do stuff like that, but yeah, we got it. We got help from you, because you present the content, and we can learn from that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everyone who does not have a copy yet, we have got a full bag of books over there. Again, we had like 220 books in our luggage, and
wow,
it's here. You should pick it up. We won't get it back to Germany, so yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, great book, great quality. Everybody in here is kind of adding to their own unique stance in the HEX community, and what it really all comes down to, it's great to see all you guys here. I'm always so inspired when I come to these kinds of things, because you know, it's really just a grassroots organic movement, and the price of HEX, the financial freedom that comes along with that, that's just a function of what you guys do to tell other people about it, to spread the word, and you know, using your language to create the reality that you want to live in. I mean, that's what we're all doing together, is we're building this parallel financial ecosystem that is making people rich, and it's a lot of fun in the process. So I don't really have anything planned to say. I guess I can take questions, but I'll just end with I'm inspired to be here, and if there's anything I can do to help answer some questions, let me know. How many people here sacrifice for, PulseChain? I'm preaching to the choir right now. You guys don't need to. You guys don't need to understand what HEX is, but what's up?
Would it be beneficial for someone to be a validator for Pulse?
Yeah, that's another thing that RG3 was talking about. You don't really have to overcomplicate things a lot of the time. People, they're always worried about, oh, what button do I click? What website do I go to? And really, 90% of the time, most of you guys would be better off just buying the coins and holding them and then telling the world about it, because really it's just all about adoption, user experience, and onboarding. That's the only thing that matters. I mean, the network effects of getting one new user in will pump the price way harder than you spinning your wheels and all these little mini games and thinking that you're going to get rich by some secret tactic that nobody knows. I mean, it's just buy and hold. It's the most boring financial advice that I can give you guys. But that's what it takes to succeed. You buy and you shut the hell up for 5 years and then you're rich. But if you really think that you need to do something like liquidity providing or validating, you should already be kind of a whale. And I don't want to put a dollar value on it, but maybe 10 G's or over. You don't want to just go off the bat. If you're buying your first bag, get your bag of HEX, get your bag of PLS, and then worry about being a validator, because it's going to cost, $2,000 in hardware fees, and you're going to be making, sure, 18%, that's great, but you're also going to have to put up 32 million PLS, and that could be worth, 10 grand itself. So if you don't have 32 million PLS, you can't even do it. And don't worry, if you're not a technical guy or girl, you don't need to be doing this right off the bat. A lot of people are making videos because a lot of us are technical folks, and we love to do that stuff. We like to tinker. We like to help support and decentralize the network, but don't worry, guys, take and chill. You're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it.
Woo! So one more little announcement, and then we are done here. If you signed up for Swimming with the Pigs or the Dolphin Excursion, I have your tickets.